Manx Radio Sport.
Good evening, it's Friday once again, which means it's time for Friday Sport Preview on Manx Radio on this murky evening here on the Isle of Man. I'm Rob Pritchard, with you now through until 6:30. I hope as always you've had a wonderful week so far. So coming up tonight, two battles of second versus third across the Premier League and Division 2 are among the pick of the clashes in Manx football this weekend. As we enter the final few games of the Manx Hockey League season, one of the Premier League titles could be decided tomorrow as we take a look into the latest round of fixtures. And in rugby, one of the island's youth teams takes centre stage on Manx soil as they prepare for an exciting Cup semi-final against UK opposition. That is all to come this evening. Starting things off then with football tonight. We are back into league action in Manx football again this weekend after focus was on the ECAP FA Cup quarter-finals. We only had a handful of games, if you remember, that went ahead last weekend due to the horrible conditions that the Isle of Man went through. So high regard to all those clubs and different organisations that got those games to go ahead. But it seems a little different this weekend, we hope with fingers crossed. So Tony Mepham is sat across from me from as ever. Tony, very good evening. So from a weather side of things, how are we looking so far for Saturday?
I was a little bit worried there, Rob, on Wednesday when the rain came down, and obviously a lot of the pitches will be pretty wet, so let's just hope today it's not been too bad, and tomorrow that we get a clean bill of health and we get all the fixtures on. I don't know if you've been told we've lost one, which was in Division 2, which is Douglas Athletic against Foxdale. Unfortunately, Douglas Athletic can't field the team this week, so the game's been awarded to Foxdale. But yeah, after all the snow, and now we've got the rain, but we are getting closer to the change of the clocks, which is a week this Sunday, I think, Rob, and then we'll start some night games, because when you look at some of the clubs only played 14 games. We've still got 10 to play, which on the grand scheme of things, we've only roughly got 10 weeks of the season to go. So a lot of hard work's going to have to be done, a lot of football for the clubs, but hopefully we'll get there.
Fingers crossed. OK, let's take a look at the fixtures this weekend, all taking place during Saturday. No games on Sunday this week, with it being Mothering Sunday in a couple of days' time. So all the games of Manx football this weekend taking place on Saturday, all kicking off at 2:30pm. We'll start off in the Canada Life Men's Premier League, and the runaway leaders at the moment, Peel, are going to be on home soil this weekend. They're going to take on Laxey. Yeah,
they are, and I've seen Peel's potential team sheet for tomorrow, so it's looking pretty strong. Lee Gale's in it, Luke Doherty's, I believe, back in the squad, which is good for them, but right the way through, the younger players now are just sort of, I think, maybe getting a little bit of nerves, Rob, with the way the league is going, as in they're in a good position. If everyone around them wins their games in hand, they're still sort of top of the league by 3 points. So Peel got a tough game tomorrow afternoon, because you wouldn't want to meet Johnny Palmer's team at the moment, because they've been playing really well. Some good football out there. Tina Garvey with a couple of goals last week, Brodie Patience with 2, and I watched the new set of players coming through. There's 1 or 2 already in the first team on Wednesday at the under-18s, and Laxey are looking really good. So Peel have got to be careful in this one, but I just think at the moment Peel have got enough there to take the points.
Speaking of Laxey, actually, just before we move on, congratulations to Laxey winning the Under-18s FA Youth Cup on Wednesday night in atrocious conditions, it must be said.
Yeah, it wasn't good, and the presentation was speedily done at the end of the game, but when that goal was scored to take it into extra time by Laxey, well done to them, but I think everybody just thought, oh my word. And to be fair, Rob, it was a good game of football, so you didn't want it to end anyway, but the weather never stopped from the start to the end of extra time. But well done to both teams, and congratulations to Laxey winning it again.
Absolutely. OK, let's go back to the Canada Life Men's Premier League then. Down south, Russian United, they're going to be hosting the struggling Douglas High School Old Boys.
Yeah, and I think Russian will be hoping to get the 3 points in this one, but certainly Old Boys have done well recently. Their performances have been better, and if they can get something out of Russian, then draw at least, it would help their cause, because once those night games come, it's going to come through thick and fast for them, because they've only played 15. Russian have played 16, but the points don't lie. Old Boys are on 9. Russian are on 21, so it does point to a Russian victory, and I think Nick Robinson's team will do it.
Very well, moving out west, and St John's United, they're going to be hosting Moran this weekend.
Yeah, this is the game that hopefully I'm going to be able to watch, and St John's know that they've got a tough game ahead as well, because Sam Brown's team have sort of done well. They're in the Railway Cup semi-finals. They're still in contention with the FA Cup, so it's all to play for, and it just keeps the games going for them, doesn't it? But the pitch, that must be sort of a bit touchy with the weather that we've had, and I think certainly Ray Pitts will be out there trying to get that right. But I think Moran are going to find it a little bit tough. Callum Taggart's been in good form, and I think he could be the difference, so I'll go for St John's to win.
And Moran, of course, part of that congested area at the bottom of the table, and two other teams around that congested area meeting tomorrow at Ballafletcher. Douglas Royal, who give themselves a little bit of breathing space, but not too much. They're coming up against an Onken side who are still in the mix to get out of those bottom two and have several games in hand.
Well, they are, and you just look at sort of Onken with the young players that they've got in there. They're getting better each week. They're playing well. I watched them recently against Ramsey. They did well. And against Douglas Royal, as you rightly say, they've sort of picked up a little bit. Michael Fitzmaurice, I think, is missing from this game again. So Gavin Gorn will be in to run the team. And I just think home advantage will help them. And I'll go for Douglas Royal.
Very well, then we move on to Gary Moore, and this is the game that I'm going to hopefully be covering tomorrow as well for Saturday Live. Union Mills in second, and they host Corinthians in third. Yeah,
I think you know where the place is, Rob. You've been up there before, haven't you, covering them?
I have indeed.
And a terrific game in prospect, and sort of more at stake for Corinthians, I think, because, we're dropping them points against Moran. They've got to keep winning right the way through. They've got games in hand. But Union Mills, they did it earlier on in the season. It was a tough battle with Corinthians. Corinthians got it in the end. But Union Mills give them a scare. They took a really good lead, and they know that. And the way they've been playing at the moment defensively, they've looked good. Midfield, they work hard, and up front, we know what they're capable of, the three boys. So Corinthians have got to be careful. But I think there's no Ryan Gartland tomorrow. I think he might be away for Corinthians, so that's a loss. But Luke Murray's still there, Chris Cannell's still there, so their experience hopefully will get the points for Corinthians. But it's going to be a close one. I think it's going to be a draw.
Very well, and then rounding off the Canada Life Men's Premier League this weekend, it's a battle up north, really. Ayr United, they'll be hosting Ramsey.
Yeah, and what a northern battle night out this will be, because they always go into town sort of afterwards. It's up at Ayer's pitch. Ayer's should be okay. Ramsey's, struggled a little bit this season, but hopefully it'll get itself sorted out. But well done to Nick Hurt, if I remember rightly, that he's won Player of the Month, so well done to him. He's had a great month, a great season, to be fair, but there's a big game at store for both teams. I'm going to go for Ayr just to take points.
Oh, very well, okay.
Stick my neck out.
Absolutely, yes you are. Okay, moving on to DPS Limited Division 2. So we did have 5 games down, but as Tony mentioned before, we have lost one of those, Douglas Athletic versus Foxdale. That is an away walk over to Foxdale. Douglas Athletic sadly unable to field a team, so that game not going ahead. But we do have 4 other games, including second versus third. They meet again in DPS Limited Division 2, Michael versus Castletown.
Yeah, sick of the side of each other, but it was Michael who got the result, wasn't it, in the last game, and Castletown again, I've just got to pull the socks up now. When you look at that league table, Rob, at the top, you've got St Mary's play 15, Michael 13 and Castletown 13. The points difference between Castletown 26 and St Mary's 38 is quite significant. So I think it's a game that Castletown have to win. And I think Gary Sansbury knows that. And he'll be looking for his players to sort of just pull the socks up a little bit, because maybe they're taking the foot off the pedal. When you look at the players that they've got there, they've got real quality. But Alex Cully, I think, was missing from the last game, so that cost them dearly. But I'm going to go for the reverse in this one. Sorry, Michael Corlett. Congratulations for last week, but I just think Castletown will turn it around this week and they'll win it.
It has been a bit of a topsy-turvy one, because Michael United winning down south last weekend, but then before that, Castletown 5-0 winners up at Michael in the Cup. And I believe, looking at the tables as I did early this afternoon, that if Michael were to win, that gap between them would stretch to 11 points.
Well, it would, and I think this is why sort of Castletown know this, and they've got to put 100% effort in. They don't want to lose out, they want to be promoted, and that's why I'm going for them.
Well, 3 other games in DPS Limited Division 2 as well. Jims versus Braddon, Douglas and District versus Governors Athletic, and Ramsey Youth Centre versus the leaders, St Mary's.
Yeah, Jims against Braddon. I know Jims have got a big game next week, but I'm going to go for Braddon to win this one. Douglas and District against Governors. I'll go for Douglas and District to take all points in that game. And Ramsey Youth Centre against St Mary's, 4th against top. I just think St Mary's as well, what a massive push they're having to get promoted, and that'll be the difference. And Owen Canepa's been in great form, so I've got to go for St Mary's to win.
OK, let's have a quick look through the combination divisions then. It's a packed schedule in Canada Life Combination 1 this weekend with 6 games.
It is, and combination 1, Laxey against Peel. Peel second, so you have to go for them. Peel to win. Old Boys against Russian. Russian still unbeaten all season, terrific, so you go for Russian. Moran against St John's. St John's have got a really strong combination. Liam Sale's been in good form. St John's to win. Onken against Douglas Royal. I'm going to go for Onken just to sneak this. Corinthians against Union Mills. I'll go for Corinthians. And Ramsey against Ayr. I'll go for Ramsey to take victory there.
Very well then, rounding off the fixtures on Saturday, we have 4 games in DPS Limited Combination 2.
We certainly do, and the first one out is Colby against Pulrose, and Colby's combination side, some good young players in there, so hopefully they can get the points away from Pulrose. It's going to be a tough one, but I'll just go for Colby. Castletown against Michael. I'll go for Michael to win. Braddon against Jims. I'll go with Braddon. And Malou against Ramsey Youth Centre. That's a huge, huge game in that league. First against second. And games are running out for both teams as well. So they need to get 3 points out of this one. I'm going to go for Malou just to take it.
Sticking your neck out once again there,
yes.
But very quickly, we've got around 60 seconds here. We'll just briefly touch on FC Isle of Man. They're back on home soil this weekend due to face Longridge Town, 6 p.m. at the Bowl tomorrow evening. It's been a recent turnaround for them, not just in the points they've been getting, but defensively shoring up as well. And they're also coming up against the Longridge side that are also full of confidence at the moment. This has the look of 2 teams who might really go at it this game.
I think they might, and I think Longridge win midweek as well, if I remember rightly. So, well done to them. And yeah, it's going to make it tough for FC Isle of Man, but just at the moment, Rob, FC Isle of Man looks so solid at the back. Midfield are working hard. Forward line, not getting as many goals as they normally would, but I just wonder if that's the way Paul Jones is set up, to be a little bit more, not necessarily defensive, but, don't take any chances up front. But when you've got people like Sean Doyle, Steve Whitley, Mikey Williams, all playing well, and then the squad's sort of not changing too much, which is good. I don't want to tempt fate, touch wood, but injuries aren't coming through thick and fast. But yeah, hopefully FC Isle of Man will do it, and to me that's them home and hosed. They're safe.
Well, if you aren't heading down to the Bowl to watch that game tomorrow, we at Manx Radio have got you covered. Full live match commentary from myself and Tony Mepham on Manx Radio, AM 1368 and digital from 6 o'clock tomorrow, Saturday, March the 18th. We'd love to have you along. Well, Tony, thank you very much indeed. Now it's time to take a look at hockey. And as we have just a handful of games left in the Manx Hockey League season, points and results are now proving more important than ever at the top and bottom of all the respective divisions. In another busy schedule of fixtures this weekend, we could well see one of the league titles decided on Saturday afternoon. With more on that and the other fixtures taking place, I spoke to Ben Cunningham. So we are really now approaching the business end of the Manx Hockey men's and ladies seasons. We'll start with the Ladies Premier League. We have 2 games there, and the early pushback is 12:35 at King William's College, and that sees Vikings A take on Backers A.
This game always is a close game. This game last time went right down to the last minute. Backers scored with the last touch of the game, so it'd be interesting to see whether Backers could do it again, or even maybe this time Backers maybe get the win over Vikings. It'll be a really close game, I reckon. I'm really sitting on the fence on this one.
And the other game is an intra-club derby, in fact, over at Castle Rushen High School. 2 pushback. Castletown B host Castletown A.
Yeah, and Castletown A will definitely be making sure they get the victory out of this one, because that'll put them in a really good place for next weekend, where they could potentially seal the deal and get the league. But of course, results all happen on the day, so we wait and see. But this game again, this derby only came down to just 1 goal the last time these two met, so we'll wait and see.
And then we move on to the Men's Premier League. Now, this division has something this weekend that the others don't, because this weekend we could see the title decided, couldn't we?
Yes, we could. So Backers A, the league leaders, are playing bottom of the league, Backers B. If Backers A are to win, then Backers A will be crowned champions, as they'll have a big enough gap over all the other teams in the league to seal the deal. So Backers A will definitely be going out for this one, and they know that against their B team they should be favourites.
We'll wait and see. Well, that game pushing back 12:35 at the NSC. After that, at 2:05 at the NSC, one of Backers A's nearest challengers, even though they're a couple of points behind, Vikings A, but they've got a tricky task against Valkyries A.
Yeah, this will be an interesting game. Vikings have had a pretty up and down season, but Valkyries as well. They started well, but then they've just slowly dipped in form, but then they are gaining it back. It'll be a close game, this. I think Vikings, though, probably will have everything structured and out ready on the day.
And the other game in the Men's Premier League this weekend, also 2:05 at Ramsey Grammar School, and that's Ramsey A against Castletown A.
Yeah, and Ramsey A will definitely be making sure they try and get something out of this one to bridge that gap at the bottom of the league over Battersby. There is only 1 point between the two at the bottom of the league, so that's not decided yet on relegation, but you'd have to say Castletown A probably are favourites for that one on the day.
Then we move on to the other divisions. Let's take a quick look through. We'll start with Ladies Division 1. There are 3 games there this weekend, all pushing back at 3:35pm.
And the first one sees Vikings B against Harlequins A at 3:35 at the NSC. I'm going to go for a Harlequins A win there. They're flying high at the moment at the top of the league and looking really good for sealing the deal and getting that promotion up to the Premier League. Next game is Bacchus C against Ramsey A, and that's at Ramsey Grammar School at 3:35. I'm going to go for a Ramsey A win there. I think they're going to be too strong for Bacchus C on the day. And then the final game is Valkyries B against Bacchus B at Castle Rushen High School. This one will be close, but Valkyries B second in the league, Bacchus B are fourth in the league. There's a little bit of a gap between the two. I think Valkyries B will get it on the day.
Then we move on to Men's Division 1, and there are 2 games there this weekend.
And the first game in that league sees Valkyries B against Vikings C. Valkyries B flying at the moment in second place, keeping the push on Harlequins A, who are top of the league. But Vikings C are really needing to find points as well to avoid being relegated. They are in the relegation battle with Harlequins B, but I think Valkyries B will be too strong on the day. And this is at 12:35 at QE2.
And then we have a battle of the B teams in the other game, and that is Harlequins B against Vikings B.
Yeah, really big game this for Harlequins B. They need to definitely try and find something out of this game, but Vikings B, an ex-Premier League team, it'll be a very hard task to maybe get one over them. I think Vikings B will be too strong on the day. This one's at 3:35 at KWC.
Then we move on to Ladies Division 2, and we have 3 games there.
And the first game in that league sees Vikings C against Harlequins B, and that's at 2:05 at QE2. Harlequins B, a newly formed team, and they've been going strong, but just haven't quite found the winning form yet. But Vikings C will be out to get points here, so I'm going to go for a Vikings C win there. Next game is Castletown D against Ramsey B, 2:05 at King William's College. This one will be a close game, I reckon. Castletown D, they are behind Castletown C at the moment, but only because they've got a game in hand as the game got cancelled last week. But Ramsey B have found form, but will they be able to stop Castletown D's form? We wait and see on the day. And then the final game is Valkyries C against Castletown C, 3:35 at QE2. And I'm going to go for a Castletown C win there, keeping the pressure on their D team.
Then rounding off the senior leagues, 2 games in Men's Division 2 on Saturday.
And the first game in that league sees Ramsey B against Castletown C, and that's at 12:35 at Ramsey Grammar School. I'm going to go for a Ramsey B win there. Ramsey B seem to be finding their form again in the last few games. And then the final game, again at 12:35, is Castletown B against Bacchus C, 12:35 at Castle Rushen High School. Castletown B flying at the moment at the top of the league, so I think they're going to have a very good day on Saturday, and I'll go for a Castletown B win there.
And last but certainly not least, we have 2 games in the Rossborough Mixed Under-15s League.
And the first game is Castletown Savers against Vikings, and that's at 11:05 at QE2. And then the final game is Backers against Harlequins, 11:05 at the NSC.
Manx Radio Sport.
Ben Cunningham with that report there. Well, that was a look at some of the hockeying action taking place on the island this weekend, but it's worth noting one of the fixtures taking place off the island as well. The Isle of Man boys under-16s, they'll be travelling this weekend in the England Hockey Championship Plate competition to take on Guildford on Sunday in Horsham, so best of luck to them as well on their travels. Okay, finally tonight, taking a look at rugby, and when it comes to rugby action on Ireland this weekend, the spotlight will be on an exciting contest for one of the island's junior teams. A cup semi-final awaits for Vagabonds under-15s, with hopes for a stellar turnout of support at Ballafletcher on Saturday lunchtime. Taking a look at this tie, as well as the situation this weekend and next for all the senior teams, here's Dave Christian.
First thing probably is that little break for everybody, a week off, unusual mid-season, but the English Clubs Championships came to an end last week for Douglas and Vagabonds. There are fixtures going on in their respective leagues, but they're only like overspill and postponements and that sort of thing. But what we decided to do when we were planning out the fixtures was give everybody a rest week before we go into the Manx Cup competition, which starts next week. The only game in town really tomorrow is the Cheshire Plate semi-final between Vagabonds and Stockport. The off-island competition is a rarity for anybody outside the English Clubs Championship, mainly because of the costs involved. But some of the junior sides have had a little dabble in the Cheshire Cup before, and the Cheshire Cup's at assorted levels depending on what sort of leagues, etc., your sides are playing in. Isle of Man sides typically will go into the Cheshire Plate, perhaps the Bowl, and I think there's a Vase competition as well. Vagabonds into the Cheshire Plate, they've made it to the semi-finals, and it's an important part of the development for these players. Aged under 15 is getting to the top end of the junior age grades, and they can't play men's rugby until they're 17 and have been formally assessed as competent and physically fit and able to play. So there's a little bit of a gap there between sort of 15 and 17 where there's not really sufficient interest in terms of player numbers to get things going. Now, we do have an Ellen Vannin Colts set up that's come in to fill in that gap. They have fixtures coming up as well. They were hoping for a cup run, but the cost has gone against them, and this Ellen Vannin Colts team is a selection of players from all the different clubs involved. Ramsey and Southern Nomads principally, but there are other players from other clubs, so it really is a representative side, but they have struggled with funding, so their Cheshire Cup perhaps curtailed a little this season. But Vagabonds got themselves as far as the semi-final, got a home semi-final as well, and what a warm-up for them. They've got the clubhouse there at Ballafletcher, which is fully booked out for the Six Nations with Vagabonds club members. There's going to be a big crowd up there for the under-15s. Kick-off is at 12 o'clock. I think they're playing 30 minutes each way. It might be 35s. And that'll finish just nicely in time for the Scotland-Italy game, which is the first one on the card on the TV inside. So big day out for all those juniors. Hopefully we'll have a big crowd up there to watch them. Kick off 12 o'clock at Ballafletcher. Next week we've got the Ravenscroft Manx Cup starting. It's a league-based competition. Ramsey, Southern Nomads, Douglas and Vagabonds, all first teams. The first set of fixtures, Ramsey play Douglas at the Mirrored Park, and Southern Nomads play Vagabonds at Ballafletcher. There's talk of moving that Southern Nomads Vagabonds game. Haven't got a new date for that if they do, but at the moment it's on the card for next Saturday. The teams will play each other just once, home and away, decided by a random draw. And at the end of those 3 matches each, there'll be a league table, and the top 2 will play off for the Manx Cup in a grand final on the 22nd of April, and it'll be at Douglas's Portashee ground this year.
Manx Radio Sport.
That's all we have time for on Manx Radio's Friday Sport Preview this week. Many thanks to my guests Tony Mepham, Ben Cunningham and Dave Christian. And just a final reminder for that big game for FC Isle of Man against Longridge Town at the Bowl tomorrow night. If you're not heading down there in person, we'll have you covered on Manx Radio. Full live match commentary from myself and Tony Mepham on Manx Radio AM 1368 and digital from 6 p.m. tomorrow, Saturday the 18th of March. Well, have yourself a wonderful Friday evening, whatever you're doing, and have a wonderful weekend as well. Chris Kinley's here with you next, but from me, until next time, it's bye for now.
Manx Radio.